Hey guys, welcome to Healing Humans. My name is Hugh, and this is Sean right next to me. And Sean is the naturopath here, and we're going to talk about what's kind of going on right now in the world, and that is the coronavirus, or known as the coronavirus, so COVID-19. And but before we kick off, I just want to remind everyone, guys, if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you follow the link back to Sean's page, Sean Williams Naturopath, and hit the like button and the follow so you know when we have stuff coming out. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell button so you know when we release videos. Also, guys, we have now turned these videos into a podcast because we think that people should be able to listen as they do things around the house. So you can catch us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public. Yeah, that's all of them, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all of them.
Also, guys, don't forget Sean Williams Naturopath website is up and running. It has been for a while. So if you want to get in contact with Sean, if you have any ailments or problems, you can head to what's the website address, Johnny?
www.seanwilliams.com.au.
There we go, because he's Australian.
Ah, yes.
Okay, so should we kick off, Shawnee?
Yeah, let's do that. So let's talk about antivirals or viruses and antivirals. So go ahead.
Okay, yeah. All right, so what? Let's start because I'm not a medical person. I have no training. I'm very much the layman. So what is a virus?
Okay, so a virus is interesting because it's different to bacteria. So don't get the two of them mixed up. They're not the same. They're not even close to being the same. So a virus is a biological agent that uses a cell in order to reproduce or replicate itself. It is made up of DNA or RNA that's wrapped up in something that's called a custard, which is effectively like a protein container. Sometimes the virus, which is that DNA or RNA wrapped in that custard, the protein custard, sometimes they are found in a lipid envelope, and sometimes they are what's referred to as naked or non-enveloped. So you've got enveloped and non-enveloped. Uh, Most viruses tend to be, that we know of, tend to be enveloped. We do have some non-enveloped viruses, but I guess most of them are, that we know of, common ones are enveloped. Uh, Basically what happens is the virus enters the body. It most of the time the immune system will catch it. For those that aren't caught, it enters the cell. It then attaches itself to the cell wall. It invades the cell. It effectively hacks. It hacks the cell and gets it to reproduce the virus or replicates the virus. So your cells are able to create proteins and replicate DNA and that sort of stuff. So what happens is the virus gets into the cell and hacks the cell in order to have it replicate the virus, which then the cell eventually dies or becomes redundant, and all these replicated versions of the original cell are then released out into the body. Talking about coronavirus, the coronavirus replicates very quickly. So going back to enveloped and non-enveloped viruses, or naked and enveloped viruses. So a couple of common ones, naked viruses, we have the rotavirus, the enterovirus, you have like hepatitis E. These are all examples of naked virus. Enveloped viruses, so that's the one that has the lipid casing around the actual virus. It almost like hides it. I have a picture actually. Let me show you quickly before I go on about the enveloped ones. Let me just bring this up. So this is an example of enveloped and non-enveloped viruses. So you can see on the bottom picture that is a naked virus. And the top one is an enveloped virus. So the enveloped virus has this lipid or fat envelope around it, and then inside of it is the actual virus, and then the squiggly line is the DNA or RNA, depending on what kind of virus it is. And so this is a basic picture of the difference between an enveloped and a non-enveloped.
And does it create like is it a protective layer? Is that the purpose of having being surrounded in the lipid? Is it
Not really.
to protect it or?
So interestingly enough, an enveloped virus, which you think would protect the virus, is actually very sensitive to heat, whereas
Okay.
a naked one is heat resistant. It basically
Ah, okay.
lacks the. But I believe the enveloped virus is able to invade cells a lot easier. The membrane here just attaches to the cell, and then it disgorges that virus straight into the cell through something that's a bit like phagocytosis. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, this brings back. So basically, that's the difference between an enveloped and a non-enveloped virus. That's the um, visual
Description. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it easy to understand. It's very difficult to describe, but you can show a picture and people will understand straight away. So a few examples of the enveloped viruses, which are the more common viruses, are rubella, influenza, Ebola, SARS virus, the Zika virus, the HPV-1 virus, herpes simplex, hepatitis C, and the HIV virus. So obviously they're a lot more prevalent and they're well known than say the rotavirus, the enterovirus, and Hep B, which are all naked viruses. But yeah, so yeah, I hope that explained a little bit to you about viruses.
And which one is COVID-19 or the coronavirus?
So coronavirus is an enveloped virus, so it's a common virus.
Okay, it's a common virus. Okay.
Yeah, still very deadly to some, but yeah, it's interesting
Right.
that
So how?
the
Sorry, no,
COVID-19 virus is it's dangerous because of how quickly it replicates. It's really easily spread. It's spread through airborne and waterborne, and so it's very easy to spread, and then it replicates very quickly in the body, especially if the immune system doesn't, guess first of all, recognize it and then respond to it quick enough. It can quite easily become serious. That's why
Okay.
some people are dying from it and other people are not. It just depends on the immune system. But we're going to get into that a bit later. So I won't talk.
Okay. So how does the body deal with the virus?
So from an immune perspective, basically the immune system intercepts the virus is one way, and the other way is through a cellular response. So I guess it intercepts it before it enters the cell, and then there's an immune response that happens within the cell. So first of all, obviously you have a lot of white blood cells that are traveling your circulation system. That's both your blood and your lymphatic system. And so those white blood cells are able to intercept the virus and effectively consume it as it's wandering through your system. It comes into contact with the white blood cell. The white blood cell immediately recognizes that it's not, it is a foreign body and engulfs it. And once it engulfs it, it pretty much just digests it through a process that involves these little organelles in the white blood cells called lysosomes, and it's pretty much hydrogen peroxide, I believe it is, that eventually eats it, digests it. Yeah. The second way is a bit more complicated. So once the virus has entered the cell, if it is functional and healthy, will recognize that the virus is there. And so what it does is the cell produces little proteins called antigens, and the antigens are then put on the outside of the cell, and it signals to any passing white blood cell that there's a problem. Once the white blood cell receives that signal from the proteins on the cell membranes, the white blood cell will do one of two things. So it may attach itself to the infected cell and then effectively kill it. It'll use a process called lysing, which means it punches holes in the cell membrane and makes it pop and effectively kills it. After which white blood cells and other immune factors then start to break down all the little parts. The other way it will do it is that if the certain cell type of white blood cell attaches itself to that cell membrane of the dysfunctional or the infected cell, it will release all these immune factors into the surrounding circulation that will signal to the big boy white blood cells to come along, immune cells to come and destroy it. So it'll either attract immune cells to the area, or if it's an actual, like a eosinophil or a basophil, or if it's a macrophage or something like that, it will destroy the virus or the cell. Sorry, it will destroy the infected cell. So I mean that's how the immune system responds. There's a lot going on there. So yeah, I hope that is.
Yeah. It's in depth. It's good. It's scientific, and that's not what. And we're not hearing that. So it's good to hear how the body is attacking, the virus.
Yeah.
So let's go to
before, if I can just say this, bro, before once you've had this coronavirus, your body then creates, let's call it memory, an immune memory that remembers the corona or the COVID-19 virus. So if you contract it again, it's very rare for you to get symptoms because your body remembers that, or your immune system remembers it. So as soon as your body comes in contact with COVID-19, your body already has the immune response, so it's instant. It's so quick. The body will respond so quickly to that infection the second time around. If that makes any sense. Once you've had it once, this is the idea behind vaccines. So with vaccines, they give you a very small dose of the disease or the virus, for example, because vaccines are antiviral. They give you a tiny dose of the virus, so your body's able to destroy it or overcome it. But at the same time, it creates that immune memory, so that your certain in white blood cells
know how to deal with it.
Yeah, they know how exactly what it is. They recognize it straight away when they come in contact with it. They know, this is COVID-19. We need to do this, and it immediately body goes, yep, this is foreign. We need to attack it straight away. Whereas sometimes the immune response can be delayed in certain people, so that's why people can really come down really hard with this virus, for example. Yeah.
So who's at risk? So let's go to the social side of this pandemic. Let's go to the social side. So who is actually at risk, with the COVID-19?
So people at risk of coronavirus are the same people who are at risk with any virus, and that is people with pre-existing conditions that are either reducing or compromising the immune system. So a great example of people who are on immunosuppressant medications. So this is like your methotrexate, which is your chemo drugs, cyclosporins, and then you've got your Umaran, which is your azathioprine. You've got all your anti-rheumatic drugs, your DMARDs. Anyone who's on this sort of medication, yeah, it's a hard one to sort of discuss, being a naturopath, obviously, but what you're doing is you're taking a medication which is suppressing everything that I've just talked about in the last 5 minutes. So your natural immune white blood cell response to viruses, for example, or the COVID-19 virus. So your ability to defend against that is compromised. Your body can't respond as it should do. You're lagging out a little bit there.
So like people on they don't really have a choice, do they? They have to take these.
Yes. Most people are on methotrexate and your DMARDs. For I think methotrexate is something that is used for, it's a chemo drug, it's used for obviously cancers and things like that. It's also used for rheumatoid arthritis and other conditions like autoimmune conditions. Cyclosporine and I believe Imuran is used for transplants. And so, yeah, they can be a little bit dicey. You wouldn't want to not take them, especially if you're a transplant patient. I wouldn't advise taking or not taking your medication in this regard,
Yeah.
obviously.
So basically, so just to reiterate, so it's people on chemo, transplant patients. What was another one you said? There was one more in there, maybe.
Yeah, people who have rheumatoid arthritis or rheumatic
There we
drugs
go.
like those sort of drugs. If you're on those, don't stop taking them. So probably another thing as well, other medications that you've got to really be careful of when you are, I guess, with something like COVID-19 around your non-steroidal and steroidal anti-inflammatory medications. The reason is they're effectively weakening or suppressing your immune response. And so when you're taking medications like ibuprofen, prednisone, these sort of medications, you need to be really careful because they are suppressing the immune or the inflammation response. So let's say, for example, you get an infection. Your body's response is to release histamine and immune factors like this in order to attract white blood cells to these areas. So if you have a viral infection that's come through your nasal cavity, your respiratory system, white blood cells have to go to that area. So cells or certain white blood cells, immune cells that are in the layers of your nose, your mouth, and your lungs, they release certain immune chemicals into your body that attract white blood cells and other immune factors to those areas in order to fight that infection. So, for example, in order to fight COVID-19, you have to be able to have an inflammation and immune response. And when you're taking brufen, ibuprofen, naproxen, and what else is there? Prednisone, all these sort of medications, you're effectively stopping your body from being able to respond to the virus. So unless you absolutely need to be on these medications, I'd recommend, maybe talking to your doctor about getting off them for the moment. If they're not something that's keeping you alive, I'd be getting off them and focus on boosting your immune system. Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a society, our immune systems are so weak because we rely really heavily on these immune system suppressing pharmaceuticals. I mean, when you look at pharmaceutical the pharmaceutical industry or pharmaceutical drugs, everything is well, they come from battlefield medicine. That's originally where the medical system and the naturopathic industry, this is where we diverged away from each other. We moved away in opposite directions because we all agree that Hippocrates is the father of modern medicine. But during the Greco-Roman times, a battlefield surgeon called Galen, he developed what is effectively pharmacopoeia or pharmaceuticals and things like that. He's the one who began to really understand human anatomy, and he was the one doing a lot of surgeries during the Roman battles. So his job was fixing up Roman soldiers. And so a lot of what we talk about in modern medicine, we know we're fighting this, we're combating that, we have to suppress this, and everything's very military in its vernacular. If you listen to medical doctors, they sound like military generals. They're talking about fighting, suppressing, combating. Everything's very military in its vernacular. Whereas the naturopathic industry is very different. We talk about supporting and rejuvenating and rest and things like that, are vernaculars very different to the medical industry. Now, having said that, modern medicine, pharmaceutical drugs, they're designed to keep you alive. In emergency situations, you want pharmaceuticals. But, as I said before, they're designed to keep you alive. They're not designed to give you quality of life. They're designed to keep you alive in emergency situations. Very rarely will they give you quality of life. And I think that's something everybody agrees on now.
Okay, so let's talk about the naturopathic side. Like, we know that naturopathic remedies, can't cure COVID-19, but it can definitely help, like, strengthen your immune system against the virus. So, tell us what we can do.
So, as you said before, like, naturopathy doesn't attack the virus. That's not what naturopathy does. What it does, it supports your body's ability to defend against the virus. So it's about supporting the body as opposed to attacking the virus. Now, in naturopathy, in the herbal medicine industry, we have some very potent antivirals, which I'm very surprised the medical industry haven't tried to synthetically replicate. A lot of the medicine that we know from today's pharmaceutical industry come from the naturopathic or the herbal pharmacopoeias. A good example of that is St. John's wort. St. John's wort is a very potent antiviral. It's specifically very potent against enveloped viruses like COVID-19 and HIV and Zika and Ebola and all these viruses. Is shown to be very effective against that. And that's mainly because it enhances the immune response to these viruses. Another one is thuya. Thuya is another herbal medicine that specifically designed for the wart virus, actually. So thuya is always associated with the wart virus, which is also an enveloped virus. These are things like herpes simplex, and HPV1. Elderberries is another one. If you try to get elderberries, I guarantee you everybody's out of stock, because elderberries is another herbal medicine associated with viral loads and things
I
like
think
that.
they grow on my tree outside.
No way. But you should be eating them. Absolutely.
What color are they?
They're like red elderberries.
Okay.
Yeah, look them up on Google.
I have like three different trees that grow red berries, but yeah, I think I have elderberries outside.
That's really interesting. Wow. So another one is cat's claw. Cat's claw is not as well known as an antiviral as the last three, but it's known for its immune properties and things like that. But it is in fact an antiviral. Echinacea, another one, antiviral. So both cat's claw and echinacea, they boost the immune system. They're both, well, especially cat's claw. Cat's claw is used as an adjunct therapy in cancer treatments, things like that, because it helps to improve the immune system. In association with all these herbs, because you could take all three of those. You could take St. John's wort, thuya, and elderberries all together. You could take them all in one tincture. They don't have to be separated. And I'd be backing those up with things like, once again, echinacea, astragalus. So I'd be using echinacea for, say, like a short-term immune booster. It's one of the most potent immune enhancers that we have in the herbal pharmacopoeia. So I'd be using echinacea for, say, like 6 weeks, and then swapping over to astragalus for a long-term immune booster. Astragalus is also an adaptogen, so very, 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 very good to use during this time.
Is any of this stuff? Do you have any herbal medicine available on your website that is this stuff?
Yep, I have an antiviral called Viralex.
Viralex?
Viralex, yeah. I also have.
I know you hate doing this. I know you hate doing this, but
I'm not a salesman.
Basically, guys, he hates me doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. But yeah, guys, if this is not making any sense to you, but you want to fortify, your immune system with natural herbs, go to Shawnee's website and buy some, what's it called?
Viralex.
Spiralex. He hates it when I do that. But I want to do it
Would
because
you
he
like?
won't do it.
I think I have. If you let me lean down here, I could probably pick the one of
Yeah,
the
go.
bottles up.
Do it. Yeah. Yeah. So Shawnee is like the worst salesman in the world. So he hates doing it. He wants to inform, where I like to sell. So I'm giving it a bit of a push today.
So
Bring it towards the face, yeah.
this is Viralex, 200 mils. It's the viral loads from everything from elderberry. Viral loads from like hepatitis. It's for herpes, yeah, HIV. It'll work on COVID.
How many months is that in there?
It's only 2 weeks.
2 weeks in there? Okay. How much?
Yeah, that's $40.
How much is it?
$40.
40 US, Australian dollars.
40 Australian dollars. That is therapeutic grade herbal medicine. So,
And is it made to be taken just for those 2 weeks, or should it be resupplied after? Or
yeah, in the situation like we're in right now, I'd be taking this the next few months. But it contains elderberry, St. John's wort, Thuya, and echinacea. So yeah, I'm going to be taking that for the next 6 months, 6 weeks maybe, 6 months, 6 weeks, depending on what your immune system's like. If you have been on, let's say you've been on something like immunosuppressants, ibuprofen, your non-steroidal or your steroidal anti-inflammatories, yeah, you want to be on this for a little bit longer than say 6 weeks.
what about our good old lifestyle disorders that could be at risk? So, like, what about people with asthma? Because from what I understand, again, I'm the layman here, is that the coronavirus affects your lungs. It seems to have a respiratory system. So, are we in agreement there? Is that what you heard? Because we are on two completely different views. I'm on the European and you're on the Australian. So, like,
yeah, so all coronaviruses, all your coronas like Zika, Ebola, they're all
okay,
respiratory.
COVID-19, yeah, or so they
they're
all affect your. Yeah, sorry, go.
Well, yeah. So if you have asthma, that's what you're going to ask me, wasn't it? So yeah. So asthma is when your bronchial tract effectively swells from inflammation, and that's effectively what will happen with like a viral infection. Let's call it an infection. A viral infection may cause an asthma attack, and that's all that
So
is.
people with asthma.
Yeah, the best thing you can do is first of all make sure you're in optimal health condition, in good condition. You have your Ventolin, or your Singletol inhaler, whatever it is you're using. Most people are using Ventolin. So that's a it's a bronchodilator, sorry, not vasodilator, a bronchodilator. Make sure you have that on hand in case something does happen. A lot of people use a long-term
Inhaler?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's a steroidal-based, it's corticosteroid inhaler. That in this situation, yeah, the people who have it really badly, you're going to have to take it. But at the same time, you're also creating an environment in your body where your immune system's not working or isn't optimal. So puts you at a higher risk of if you are to contract COVID-19, the effects or the symptoms are going to be a lot worse. And I think before I go on, we have to state this. Yes, people have passed away from coronavirus. I think we're up to about 3,000 people worldwide right now. You have to understand that we're up to say like 70,000 people who contracted this virus and have survived. Online, there are plenty of people who are talking about surviving the coronavirus. I think that's important to focus on as well, because we tend to focus on the other number, the 3,000 people who've died. So your chances of survival if you contract coronavirus, so your chances of survival are really high. It's not
Yeah.
something, it's not, comes down to your immune system, which is lifestyle and diet, which I believe you were about to ask me about, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was going to say, like, uh, are there any other ways that we can fortify against, this pandemic?
Yeah, so absolutely. First thing you need to do is when you're looking at both diet and lifestyle is reducing inflammation. That's the most important thing. Because if your body is having to deal with high levels of inflammation, that means that's your immune system is dealing with that. So your body is experiencing enough trauma from your diet and lifestyle that it's having to constantly initiate the inflammation cascade or the inflammation response. Remember, inflammation is a natural response to trauma. So inflammation is natural. It's just it's a sign that things are not good in your body. If you're high levels of inflammation, which you can get that tested on a blood test, so that you can get your inflammatory markers tested through a blood test. That's your ESR and your erythrocyte sediment rate. And there's another one as well. I always forget the second one. And you can also check your plasma viscosity as well. All these things can be tested. They're all part of the inflammation marker factors, and so you can check these, see what your inflammation levels are. But going back to diet, you have to reduce your inflammation levels. Do that through diet and lifestyle. So first things first, stop smoking. COVID-19 affects the respiratory system and the upper respiratory tract. So straight away, just stop smoking. Get rid of the smoking, the vaping, whatever it is you're doing, get rid of it. Because it's all initiating the same immune response in your upper respiratory tract that the virus will do. So if you're already extremely inflamed in that upper respiratory tract area and then you contract COVID-19, your body has to deal with both the fact that you're a smoker or a vapor and the virus as well. That's a double whammy. That's, if you think of a healthy person standing next to you who doesn't smoke, that's something they don't have to deal with. They're going to overcome this virus quicker than what you can. Probably have less symptoms and things like that, based on the fact that they're a non-smoker. So yeah, smoking, anything that you do recreationally that will affect your immune system, like recreational drugs, stay off them for the moment. If you enjoy a bit of ecstasy or you enjoy whatever it is that you do, it's all affecting your immune system. Just stay off it for the next, few months. Allow your immune system to increase, and if you do contract the virus, your chances of survival are far greater. Diet. So let's talk about diet. Excuse me while I drink my cup of tea. So diet. You want an anti-inflammatory diet. What does that mean? It means plant-based. If plant-based is not something you want to do, okay, just do it for the next few months. Reduce your inflammation levels by removing the meat and the
At
dairy.
least cut off. Yeah.
Get rid of the meat, get rid of the dairy, because it's just going to burden your body. It's going to burden your immune system. All this inflammation you're bringing in through your diet, it's just something else your body has to deal with rather than fighting off the virus. Same with, I always forget to talk about the beverages, like stop drinking energy drinks, stop drinking, tons of soft drink, stimulate. Yeah, just switch to something that's gonna work for you. That's actually going to help boost your immune system. Like say, orange juice, vitamin C. Go take some vitamin C. Eat it in the
form. Or eat an orange.
Increase your fruit intake. Like right now, your protein intake is not that important. It's your antioxidant and vitamin intake that matters, and that all comes from fruit and vegetables. Do that. Less inflammation means stronger immune system. Do it. Yeah.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to add, Sean?
Immune boosting. Fasting.
Okay.
Fasting is one of the best ways you can boost your immune system. It's proven. so many times scientifically and now clinically, we've shown that fasting is amazing for boosting the immune system. When your body is no longer burdened with food, it switches to healing mode, and it focuses all the energy on increasing your immune system. So there are several. I mean, I doubt anyone's going to go do a water fast right now, but there are other things you can do. You can do intermittent fasting, which is where you can not eat for 12 to 14 hours a day, and then have a small window of what does that give us, 8 hours of eating. So you could not eat from 6 o'clock at night and then go all the way through till, say, I don't know, 11, 12. I don't know how many hours that is, but that's what I usually do. I usually
noon the next day.
Yeah, I just
not midnight.
Yeah, not midnight. So for me, I stop eating about 7 o'clock at night, and then I don't eat again then until whatever dinner time is. So it's 5:30. I have one meal, do the same thing again. So I'll do that every other week. Another really effective way, if that's not possible with you because of family commitments, because of work commitments, you can do something that's called dry fasting. Dry fasting is nil by mouth. It's the same as when you go in for an operation in the hospital and they tell you not to stop eating, don't eat past 8 o'clock at night. And they're doing that, because, well, first of all, if you vomit, you're not going to choke. But secondly, because your body, the immune system, and all the factors that are involved in healing and wound healing, like clotting factors, they just ramp up because the body's in healing mode. So it's going into deconstructing dysfunctional cells and organs and tissue in the body. It breaks them down and heals them, repairs them. So that's why when you go into surgery, they like you to do that, because if you do,
your clotting mechanism is like ready to go.
Yeah, it's better.
And the system, yeah.
So okay. As far as the immune system goes, so your immune system ramps up. It's amazing. Your resilience and your resistance to infection and foreign objects and things like that increases. That's why they do it. I don't think many medical doctors understand that anymore, but that's why they do it. It's the same in a situation like now with this virus going around. If you dry fast, which is when you don't eat or drink from, let's say, 6 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night, whenever your last mouthful of meal or drink is, until, say, maybe 12 hours, you can do 12 hours, so that's 7, 8 the next morning. If you can increase that dry fast to 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, you're doing a really good, 14, 15 hour fast, dry fast, and that is good. That is really good. It shocks the kidneys into filtering, so your kidneys get a chance to repair. So does your GI tract gets a chance to repair. So it's like when you service your vehicle, your mechanic has to turn your vehicle off in order to work on it. Your body is exactly the same. Your body needs to turn the kidneys or the liver needs to turn it off in order to work on it, to really do some proper repairs. Otherwise, it's not being fixed properly. So by not eating or drinking, you're allowing your body 12, 14 hours of time to repair. And in doing that as well, it ramps up the immune system and makes you, once again, more resilient and more resistant to things like infection. Yeah, and it's, dry fasting is really easy to do. Once you get your head around it, it's easy. It's just like going in for surgery. You just do it. You have to do it. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. But you need to be, fasting is proven to be excellent in any situation, any condition. It just helps to heal it. It's amazing what it can do. I definitely advise people to give it a try, especially at the moment. Say we're in the middle of a pandemic. You want a little bit of assurance. Should you contract the COVID-19 virus, fasting is a great way to improve your resilience and your resistance to something like a virus. Fasting, Yeah.
So how is Australia going with its quarantining? What stage are you at now?
To be honest with you, I couldn't really tell you. I think the pubs and clubs have reduced their patronage to about 200 people. Most places have been really strict on to the 200 people mark. I believe international flights and even domestic flights or travel, sorry, has been restricted to necessary. So, for example, next month I was supposed to be going to the Gold Coast and then Fiji, and that's had to cancel because, yeah, I'd say by mid next month things are going to be worse than they are now.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the new epicenter here in Denmark, and nothing is open. Everything's closed, except for supermarkets. Supermarkets are open. Lots of places are just empty. Shops are empty. Supermarkets are emptying very quickly of food and toilet paper. So we've all seen that on social media.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's weird. We're lucky. We kind of live in a very quiet area, so we don't really see the hustle and bustle of our town anyway. So to us, everything's quite normal. But once you go outside, the roads are empty, where there would normally be traffic, and the main street is just dead. Nobody's on the main street. So
yeah,
it's a weird time. It's a weird time here in Europe. We've definitely hit sort of that 1918 Spanish flu style quarantine where
yeah.
nobody's around. So
In
there's no
Australia,
social
everyone's
gathering.
on the beach.
Everyone's on the beach, yeah, because you can't touch people there.
The
Yeah.
but what because I don't know if you noticed before with the picture I put up before, I might just quickly pop that back. But if you notice that the enveloped virus is actually sensitive to heat, and so here in Australia, being out in the sun and things like that sort of helps with that.
Ah,
But yeah, one of the I've just come back from the shop probably like 2 hours ago, and I was amazed that at 5:30 the shop was open on was empty on at 5:30 on Friday afternoon, and she was like panic buying because here in Mount Isa we don't have Sunday trading. But,
okay.
yeah, but I went and stocked up on some coconut milk. I had like probably like 12 little 1 litre cartons of coconut milk, and no one buys it up here. Everyone's cow's milk. So, we're plant
Everyone's
based.
still stuck in that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was on special for like $2 a carton. So I was like, yes, my wife would be really happy. I got the bargain. So I threw it all in the shopping trolley. And when I got to the checkout, I popped it all on the conveyor belt. And she was like, the lady was like, really sorry, but you can only take two. So I was like, I really hope you don't expect me to take all them back now. She was like, oh, no, no. But yeah,
I
that was
take two what of the
coconut milk.
coconut milk.
It was
Well, don't you
hilarious.
normally take that much anyway?
Yeah, yeah. I've usually got if it's normal price, I'll take like 6, but because it was half price, I thought I'll take 12. Ended up
Yeah,
walking
but
out of the
because of
shop with
this,
2.
like, did everyone else frown at you? Oh, look at this guy taking all the coconut milk.
No, we're all oblivious. That's up here. There's big signs everywhere. No one reads anything. We're all too busy chatting away, calling across the
Yeah,
shop to each other because we all
yeah,
know each other.
eating
I
at the
get to the
coffee club.
Yeah, I get to the checkout, and I didn't even see the sign. It was like literally this far from my face. And I'm talking to the lady, and she's like, "Oh, you can't see the sign." I'm like, "What sign?" She's like, "It's right there." And I was, "Oh, okay, no worries." I was reading the sign
Yeah,
saying I can only take one thing of toilet paper, so I was like, well, glad I didn't have to do that because that would be embarrassing.
yeah. We've had some people panic buying here in Denmark, so
Yeah,
it's kind of ending now. So I think everyone's calmed down and people realizing that the logistics are still moving around Europe. People are still driving trucks and stuff like that. So there's still food,
still lots
but
of
there
vegan
was like
food.
3 days there where people panicked. So
One thing I can always guarantee is that during periods like this, because when we get a wet season, we get flooded, and so we get rained in.
yeah,
One of the things I can always guarantee is that even if I don't make it to the shops in time and they panic buy, and the town panic buys, guaranteed that the vegan section is always full, so I don't have to worry. I just walk in. And it's always on special too. You walk in, everything's half price because
yeah. Nobody's buying this. You can have it.
Yeah, like the fridges are all completely empty. There's no meat. There's absolutely no meat. But I just walk
Yeah,
up to the vegan section. I'm like, here we go. Okay, this is half price. Let's stock up.
yeah,
So then I can't fit anything in my fridge because I've got half of the shop vegan section in my fridge.
fridge.
Yeah,
No room for the beer.
no reason for the beer. No,
Yeah.
it's good.
All right, so should we leave it there? And
I think we should. I hope this has been informative. I hope you guys have learned something. Main thing is don't
all right,
panic. I hear little man's awake in the background.
yeah, little man's awake. He's
Sweet. Better go talk to your son. Go play with him.
yeah,
Go feed
yeah.
him.
All right, yeah.
Thanks
All
for
right.
your time
Well,
again, man.
no worries, man. And I'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, okay. Too easy on that.
Okay.
All right,
No
see ya.
worries. Okay, bye.